NBA playoffs round 2 game 3s begin this Friday night. A pair of them on ESPN National TV. Pacers and Cavaliers, Nuggets and Thunder. I'm going to break them both down for you free with picks and analysis, sides, totals, player props coming up right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And NBA playoffs round 2 have been insane to say the least. We had all 4 road underdogs winning outright in game 1. There was about less than a 0.3% chance of that happening. 340 to 1 were the true odds that I calculated, but it happened. And then we've seen more craziness as well. The Cavaliers blow a 20-point lead in game 2, lose outright at home. The Celtics blow a 20-point lead in game 2 on Wednesday night and lose outright at home. Now we got all these teams traveling. I'll have that Celtic New York video for tomorrow on Saturday, by the way. Game 3 in that series, along with the Timberwolves and Warriors for that site change. And don't forget, I'm doing every NBA playoff game every day here on the channel, so thumbs up, like, subscribe, and make sure you click that bell for an instant alert. Question becomes now, do these teams bounce back? And history is not a good indicator for them because so far in round 2 of the NBA playoffs, teams that are down 0-2 after losing the first 2 games at home have won only 2 of the 11 series. So once again, 9 out of 11 chance that the Pacers win this series. And by the way, that series adjusted price is around minus 190. I think Cleveland might bounce back here in game 3, and they are favored. But once again, if you're going to play the series price, there is no value with Cleveland right now to win 4 of the next 5 games at plus 170. In fact, I actually think there is some value with the Pacers at minus 190 for an adjusted series price. And by the way, in overall NBA playoffs, teams down 0-2 after 2 straight home losses have won only 5 out of 35 series. So once again, history is against the Cavs, and the injury report is also against the Cavaliers now in this series as they missed 3 of their top 6 scorers in game 2, and they still, as I mentioned, had a 20-point lead and totally collapsed in the fourth quarter, and Indiana escaped with the win. In fact, Pacers have done this twice now in the playoffs. They've overcome a 7-point deficit with less than 90 seconds to go in the playoff games. They've done it twice this year. Only one other team had done it in the previous 20 years before this season in over 380 games, and the Pacers have done it twice. That's how bizarro the NBA playoffs have been the past couple weeks. And look, when things like that happen, we're going to have some outlier results. It's not going to be good because everything I'm using is based on historical backtesting, and that's why I've won consistently for 29 years. So when we have these strange results, you are going to have an occasional drawdown, and that's what we've had this week with some of our best bets as well. But I do think things will get back to normal. I think those are aberrations. And when a team is leading the majority of the game, they normally are the better team. Problem, though, is we don't know if Garland or Mobley are going here for Game 3 on Friday night. They're both listed as questionable. I'm doing this video on Thursday evening, the day before, as I do for all these games. So keep an eye on the injury report. You might even want to wait to play the game right near tip-off or even in-game once you see who the lineups are. Obviously, I do like the Cavs if Garland and or Mobley, at least one of them, is back. I think this is a good bounce-back spot for him. You can also consider Cleveland first half -2 versus 2.5 or 3 for the full game. Hard to imagine a situation in which the Cavaliers get down early and then fight back on the road in the second half. In fact, if they lose this game, they probably get swept. History shows that teams normally do. And that's, once again, I like Cleveland here in Game 3 to bounce back, but I think the Pacers minus 190 series price actually has some value just based on historical results. When teams win 2 straight on the road, they normally win the series. Once again, 9-2 in this round, 30-5 overall in the playoffs over the last couple decades. Total is tricky without knowing the report of Mobley or Garland. So once again, got to really get the injury report before we dive deeper. As far as player props, those are tricky also because Cleveland, once again, 2 of their best players maybe in, maybe out. One known quantity, of course, is Donovan Mitchell. As expected, I said he'd do the heavy lifting with a shorthanded team, and he did just that in a game number 2. In fact, he was quite incredible in game number 2. He had an off game 1, don't forget, as I thought he would bounce back. Game 1, he had 33 points, but it was only 13 for 30 shooting. Well, game 2, he took only 30 shots and scored 48 points, 17 for 21 from the free throw line. He was still only 1 for 7 from three-point range. 1 for 7, and he still had 48 points. So once again, Donovan Mitchell over props or pass, and if the Mobley or Garland are not in, you definitely have to like Mitchell over. They're not going to be able to set that line high enough, in my opinion. All right, let's look at the late game here at 10 o'clock Eastern Friday night. It's OKC at Denver, Game 3 in this series. Site change as well. And once again, Oklahoma City blew a 14-point lead in Game 1. They were one of those favorites that blew double-digit leads and lost at home in Game 1. But unlike Cleveland or Boston in that situation, they bounced back in Game 2 as expected with an easy blowout win. In fact, it was never even a contest. NBA playoff record, I believe, for points in the first half. Also, overall, they held a 49-point lead, ended up winning by 43. All their starters played less than 30 minutes, so not too much we can take away from that box score. I do think it's a good bounce-back spot for Denver for a couple reasons. Once again, quality teams off blowout losses have been long-term winners, almost 60% in the NBA playoffs, so the Nuggets fit that angle. And we do get some line value at home at +5. They really haven't adjusted this spread, even though the situation now favors Denver. And they do have a strong home court with the altitude and thin air. OKC is the best team in the NBA, and they're the best defensive team in the league. And we saw that defense, even with 255 points scored, they still held the Nuggets to under their 110 team total in Game 2, which is pretty damn impressive. But I do think it's a good bounce-back spot for Denver on paper. I would lean that way. And it's interesting, the first half line is only 2.5. The full game is 5, so I'd probably play the full game +5, take a little extra value. And once again, Denver doesn't have to win this game. You could still sneak in that cover. But historically, teams that get blown out usually do bounce back in the next playoff game. The zigzag usually works with quality teams in this situation. Total, by the way, is higher, and not surprising after 255 points scored. First two games were right around the 230 line. This one now priced at 233, even 233 and a halves out there. So we have seen an adjustment higher on the total. OKC, though, once again, the most efficient defense in the league this year. So they score a lot of points. They can play fast, but they're a great defensive team, which does make that total a bit tricky. As far as player props, I do expect Denver to play better at home here in Game 3. And Jokic has not had a triple-double in either game yet. He is a triple-double machine. He seems to have one every other game. And since he hasn't had one yet, I think he's probably likely to have one here. Once again, though, it's tough to play Nuggets over because OKC is such a great defensive team. But the nice thing about Jokic triple-double props is we know he's going to get to double-digit points even against the great Thunder defense. He probably can get to the rebounds and assists as well. As far as other guys, we've been fading Porter Jr., continue to do so. He's been just kind of phased out of this series so far. And Game 2 the other night, 2 for 10 shooting, only 2 for 8 from three-point range, only 8 points. And, of course, he wasn't any better in Game 1 with just 2 points, 1 for 8 shooting. Probably not a lot of value left at this point to play Porter under, especially at home in a bounce-back spot. But they're still pricing it pretty high, 10.5 to 11.5, and that's because he averaged 17 points a game this year. His total is as high as 11.5 at DraftKings. He has had 8 points or less in 3 of the last 4 playoff games. Once again, Porter unders are the only way I would play him, although the value is probably starting to disappear. Where I do think we're getting some value now is Russell Westbrook. I mentioned him in Game 2 as a possible under, and he got up and over his total of 11.5, but they've now bumped it up to 13.5, anywhere from 12.5 to 13.5 I'm seeing now. And I do think we can maybe start playing Westbrook under with a little more confidence. He's had 14 or more in 5 straight games. I get that. But because of that, we're now getting a higher point total that's right around his season average. And he's good in junk games like Game 2 the other night in which your team is down by 40. Westbrook shines in that, right? And he took 11 shot attempts. He was still only 1 for 4 from three-point range. He's been shooting the ball terrible, actually. He was 1 for 5 the game before that, so he's 2 for 9 the last 2 playoff games from three-point range. And I don't expect anything to change. 1 for 4 or 1 for 5. He's not a good shooter. He's an aging veteran. I do think we'll start getting some value now fading Westbrook under points. Even though he's been scoring, I think that's going to come to an end sooner than later. All right, once again, a lot of uncertainty in that Cleveland game. Keep an eye on the injury report. And then once again, Nuggets, the inferior team, but they're still a quality team off a blowout loss, should show up with a decent showing in Game 3. That's how I would play it. But once again, a lot of uncertainty in these playoff games. It's been a crazy week, to say the least. That's why we use proper money management, and that's why we have a bankroll, and that's why we play discipline each and every day. We are still up overall, and we are still going to grind and make some money. And keep in mind, baseball is chugging along, and last year baseball was incredible, up over 100 units all sports by the end of August. Baseball finished up 103 units alone. NBA finished number 1 overall last year. I'm still number 1 all-time in NBA sides profit at WagerTalk. So if you like my daily best bets, you can get them on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and you can get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. And don't forget, right now, when you use promo code SM365, you get an instant $811 discount on a 1-year all-access pass. And this is a great time to get on board. As I mentioned, this time last year, into the summer, we went red hot, catabolic on baseball and basketball and finished up over 100 units by the end of August. Finished the year up over 133 units. So if you've been thinking about taking a true investment approach, now's a great time to get on board, and you save big with promo code SM365. Gets it down to exactly $3 a day, $1 a play, for every college and pro football best bet next year, every college basketball best bet, and also a full year of college, or Major League Baseball rather, and pro basketball. You get the rest of this year and into next year as well. 365 days for about $1 a play. Promo code SM365. Check it out along with the daily free play. I post a free play every day on my page as well. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Don't forget to comment below. I've done every NBA playoff game every day, and I will continue to do so this entire postseason. If you're finding it useful, thumbs up, like, positive comments below. And when you subscribe, click that bell for an instant alert so you know when this video goes up every day for the playoffs, and also when I post free baseball bet videos during the week as well. Hey, don't forget also, I'll be on Wager Talk Last Call Saturday morning after 11 a.m. Eastern on the live show, and you can archive, watch it here 24/7 on Wager Talk TV. And for instant updates, shows, videos, I post them all on X, on Twitter as well, at Steve Merril. So follow me on social media, at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L. At Steve Merril on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you also know there's more free play videos coming up next.